Hello, my most amazing artists. As we get closer and closer to spring break, we get closer and closer to Easter. Today, in our art video, I'm going to show you how to make an Easter card with a 3D cross in the picture. Today, we're going to be using the element of form in our work to make our 3D cross. We're going to need a piece of paper. You're also going to need a pencil or a pen or something to draw with. You might also want to color in your Easter card after you finish drawing it. Let's get started drawing our 3D cross. Here we go. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to fold my paper in half horizontally. So I have my paper. This is vertical. Wideways is horizontal, so it's a wide piece of paper. You can tell because it's long on the top and long on the bottom and short on either side. And I'm going to fold this in half so it looks like a book or a card, since we are making an Easter card. So now that we've folded our paper in half, we have the front of our card here, and then we also have the inside of our card where we can write a nice Easter message. Let's work on the front of our card first, where we are going to draw our 3D cross. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to start at the bottom of our paper, and we're going to draw the ground first. So I'm going to start at the bottom of my paper, and I'm going to draw a curved line or a bumpy line for the ground down at the bottom. Then the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to draw two lines coming up from the ground, kind of as if I'm going to start drawing a letter H. So I'm going to draw two lines going straight up from the ground, kind of like I'm going to start drawing a letter H. The only difference between this and a letter H is I'm not including that bar in the middle. Make sure you don't include that bar in the middle. The next step we're going to take is we're going to draw kind of like a letter T. We're going to draw two lines, one on either side coming out from the top of our letter H. So draw one line coming out from the top, and then draw the other coming out from the top from the other side. You want these lines to be parallel with your ground line, so they're horizontal and they're parallel to the ground. If you are wanting to make sure the size of your lines are just right, you could use your hand for measurement. If you can see here, my finger, it's about the length of my fingernail to maybe my first knuckle on my hand. You could also use your pencil for measurement. For example, this appears to be about this long. So then I would take my pencil, move it over here, and measure my other one, make sure they're both about the same length. If they're not, I might use my eraser, maybe to make a little adjustment right there. Alright, everybody should be here. Everyone's paper should look like this. We have the ground, we have our two long vertical lines and our two parallel horizontal lines. Our next step is we're going to draw two vertical lines going up towards the top of our paper. One on this side and one on this side. We are going to stop them very quickly because they're not going to be that long. They're only a little bit longer than the eraser on my pencil. Then we're going to make two copycat lines that copy our bottom horizontal line. So we're going to draw another horizontal line that copies the same length as the one underneath it. So look at how long this line is here, and you're going to draw the same kind of line up here above it. Make sure you stop and leave space in the middle. Notice how I didn't close my line off because I'm leaving space at the top for the top of my cross. Now, to finish off the top of my cross, what I'm going to do is draw two vertical lines that go straight up towards the top of my paper. And then I'm going to draw a horizontal line to close off those two vertical lines. Now is not 3D. In order to make our cross 3D, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to find the top corner of our cross, and we're going to draw a line coming out of that top corner. Draw a line coming out of that top corner of your cross. I'm going to zoom in a little bit so you can see a little bit better. We're drawing a line that comes out, and it's a short line, maybe about the length of your fingernail. Your next step is to draw a line from the end of that line that you just drew down, all the way down till it touches the top of the first arm of your cross. Then we're going to do the same thing over here. We're going to draw a line that comes straight out of this top corner. Then we're going to draw a line that goes down. Make sure it stops at the end of this side of the cross. And then we're going to connect it with another line that comes out and goes back. Now, the next thing we're going to add is we're going to add a line underneath. So we're going to take this line here and we're going to draw a line that goes from underneath and then connect it up to that edge. So we have a line down here. Then we're going to draw a parallel line all the way down the side of our cross, all the way to the ground. Don't worry too much about these lines here. When we shade in, you won't see them as much. The last step we're going to do is we're going to draw another parallel line on this side of the cross that follows underneath this arm of the cross, and then draw a line that connects them up there. Alright, now we're going to shade in these extra sides. So take your pencil or your marker and color in these extra sides here. So shade them in. If you're following along with this video and you've missed a step, you can pause it and go back. If you do not have paper at your house, you could use the website Clecky. If you're a 5th grader, you know how to get to Clecky through Schoology. You can use Schoology, go to the word Skill Builder and click the words Clecky. If you're a 2nd grader, you can be using your whiteboard to make this drawing instead of paper and crayons or paper and pencil. Alright, now that we've shaded in all of our cross, we are going to add some details to the background of our picture and then to the bottom of our picture. So let's add some details in the background of our picture to make our picture have more depth and space. So we're going to add another curvy line back here for some more hills. Maybe we'll add a river. Draw a river back here with some curvy lines. Have a river running through this valley back here. Then we might draw some mountains with some pointed lines. So maybe use some pointed lines to add some mountains. And then coming down from those mountains, we'll use lines to show that the mountains are craggy and have lots of bits to climb up. So use some diagonal lines, maybe with some jagged edges to show that the mountains have detail in them. So maybe some jagged edges in those lines. You could also add plants up here, so you could add little flowers. This is the part where you can kind of get a little more creative with what you're going to add down here. You can add other details, so you can use your imagination, put whatever you like down here. But the last thing we're going to add is we're going to add a shadow. So, to add our shadow, what we're going to do is we're thinking the sun is shining this way on our cross, right? So our shadow would come down from our cross and go out towards the corner. So find the end of your cross and find the corner of your paper. What you're going to do is you're going to draw a line from the end of your cross to the corner of your paper. And I want you to do the same thing for the other side. So find the end of your cross and you're going to draw a line to the corner of your paper. This makes your shadow for your cross. If you want, you could even add the arm part of the cross as well, if you'd like to add that as well. Take your pencil or your marker and then shade in the shadow. Now, there are other things you could add to your cross. You can add a crown if you would like. You could add a, what is it called? Those little sashes that you might see at church. They're usually purple and they go across the cross. You could add details in the sky. You could add maybe some clouds. Maybe the sun peeking through behind the clouds. You could add birds up there. You could add God up there. It's up to you, really, what you want to add next. This part is where you would add those details. Maybe you would start to color. But before we start to color this picture, I do want to add our inside message. So inside the card, flipping your card open, we're going to go ahead and add our inside message. And our inside message is going to be a banner. So we're going to draw a banner first, and then we're going to write our message in the banner. So the first thing you're going to do is I want you to draw a frowny line that almost fills the whole side of the page. So a curved line that curves down. Then I want you to draw another curved line that curves down underneath it. You're going to connect these two lines with two straight lines. The next thing I want you to draw is to draw another vertical line right next to it, but a little bit shorter. So this line is shorter and comes out longer. And we're going to do that on both sides. Then we're going to connect this line to the bottom of our rectangle. So connect this line down here, back up to the bottom of your rectangle, and do the same thing on the other side. Find the end of this line, see how it's longer than our rectangle? We connect them up towards the bottom of our rectangle. Next, we're going to connect our top lines to the top of our rectangle, like that, to show that they are shorter. And then the last thing we're going to do is draw a letter M on its side at the very end of this shape. Draw a letter M on the side at the end of that shape. This looks like a ribbon or a banner. So now that you've drawn your banner, inside of our banner we could write our message. You could write any message you would like inside of this banner for your Easter card, or you can copy my message. The message I'm going to write is going to say, He is risen. So I'm going to write He, H-E, I-S, risen. I think I'm going to make risen in all caps because it's a really good thing. R-I-S-E-N. Exclamation point. And then maybe I can add some extra details around it if I have room to make it even more fancy. So I'm going to add some little lines around the outside of it to make it a little more fancy. There we go. So He is risen. You could also add other drawings here, like a dove, or flowers, or lilies, or color in this page. Down here you might also write a message to the person you're giving this card to, or you could just simply write love and your your name, whatever your name is. Alright, let's head back to the front and add some color. We are going to color in our picture, and I'm going to use brown to start off to color in my cross. And I'm just taking my time, adding some color into my drawing of the cross. And that is what you should be doing as well. So if you have dry erase markers, you can be using your dry erase markers to add color or extra details. Or if you are using paper, you can be using the colors you have at your house to add color or extra details. Or if you are using Klecky, you should also be adding color or extra details here if you're a 5th grader. So we're coloring in our cross, and we're going to add some extra details. We're making this a 5-star drawing. A 5-star drawing is one of those drawings that is totally complete. That means it has color filling up the whole page, not just part of it. So I'll zoom back out a little bit so you can see me adding my sky. I'm going to go ahead and add my sky. And I'm making a blue sky, but there are lots of other skies you could add here. I'm just going to list some examples for you. Consider adding a sunset or a sunrise. If you want this picture to be a more somber picture, maybe more serious, you could give it a gray sky, more of a cloudy day, or even a rainy day. Something I notice when I see kids trying to color a large area is they'll just kind of scribble, and they'll scribble real fast, and they'll end up scribbling into other spaces that they don't want. What I like to do instead of scribbling all over my whole page to get a lot of color colored quickly is I like to start by choosing a section and then coloring methodically or in method, coloring up and down until I finish that section. So this is the section I chose. And now it's full of color, right? And I can move on to my next section. So maybe I say I'll choose right here. So I'll color in this section next. And I just move my hand back and forth in one section to color it in. And then I can just keep moving on to each section without feeling like I need to color the whole picture right away. So it can be helpful to identify a section, say, I think I'll color this bottom part first, instead of thinking I have to color the whole sky right now. So I identified the corner that I want to color, and I'm going to color that corner in. That way I'm not feeling overwhelmed and I feel like I have to color everything all at once. Keep going. We're adding color to our picture or extra details. If you haven't got many colors, you might be adding extra details like a dove or an angel or God or lilies or a sash or a crown. course, color the inside of your Easter card, but it is all ready for you to sign with your name and give to someone that you love for Easter. I hope you guys had a good time making your Easter card, and I will see you in the next video. Have a good day. Bye.